Hey guys, welcome back for more ELEGIES. So, come on, let's continue the story yet again. Was it only a few hours ago that I so cheerfully lied about my destination before heading out the door? You could tell me it had been years since then and I'd believe you. Maybe this is how I felt when in limbo for life in the hospital, with time ceasing to have the same meaning as it does to everyone else.
Hey kid!
My aunt greets me with a smile from the couch as if it's a completely normal afternoon.
How was hanging out with your friend?
It was good.
It was good. Why is his voice like that? The continuation of the lie passes my lips almost instinctively. I lean my cane against the arm of the couch and sink down onto the cushions with relief.
What did you guys do?
Oh, you know.
Just knocked on doors in the bad side of town, asking strangers about a potential murder before almost getting murdered myself.
Video games.
Did you win?
There's a hint of sarcasm to my aunt's smile as she asked the oversimplified question, and it makes me chuckle.
Yeah, totally.
That's my boy! I was just thinking about ordering a pizza for dinner. That okay with you?
As long as it doesn't have pineapple.
Claire shakes her head.
One day, you'll learn to truly appreciate fine cuisine. But alright. How about good old pepperoni?
Sounds good.
My eye is drawn to my ghostly companion hovering off to the side, and I heave myself back into a standing position.
Maybe I'll go up to my room for a bit. Call me when it gets here?
Okay, but if you take too long coming back down, I'm going to eat all the garlic bread myself.
You'd get fat.
Bread makes you fat?
I laugh at the exaggerated incredulity in my aunt's eyes before turning away to begin my slow ascent up the stairs. In contrast to her usual exuberant movement speed, Aya lingers behind me, a bit drifting into my bedroom at my shoulder. I sit down in the bed and peel off the velcro of the moon boot, freeing my weak leg from the padding. I collapse onto my back as I stretch out my sore ankle. Aya is still silent as she floats in the corner of my vision. A wide yawn overtakes me before I can finally speak to her again.
I think I might take a quick nap before the pizza gets here. Want me to put on your audiobooks?
She shakes her head.
That's okay. I think I'd rather just be quiet for a while. I have a lot to think about.
Okay.
Suits me as my eyes are beginning to drift shut. I'm not sure I could summon the energy to get up and press play on my phone if I had to.
You know you can...
Another yawn forces a pause into my sentence.
You can talk to me about anything.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, Zach.
That's the last thing I hear her say before I'm out like a light. Okay. What happens next? We're gonna wake up.
No way that's a word.
A couple hours later, I'm marveling in disbelief at the nonsense my aunt just placed down on the Scrabble board. I is still upstairs thinking, so I can't turn to her for a reaction to this bizarre combination of letters.
Look it up, genius.
Aunt Claire responds with her mouth full of cheesy garlic bread.
Really? You're confident that's in the dictionary?
She nods as she tears off another bite.
If it's not in there,
Or
I'm
tears.
eating the last slice of pizza.
Oh, you're on, kid.
I type the letters into my phone's web search, making sure they don't get autocorrected into something worth way fewer points. I sigh heavily as the page loads and Aunt Claire grins.
Well?
Asthenia, strength, vigor, or vitality.
I read out the definition with reluctance. Claire grins as she wipes the last slice of delicious pepperoni goodness from the cardboard box behind us or beside us.
I was learning weird words to beat your dad at this game before you were born, kid.
She takes a triumphant bite.
You and Dad used to play Scrabble?
Scrabble, Mastermind, Monopoly. We played all kinds of games when we were kids. Back when the games were all physical objects, of course. In the Dark Ages.
What's Mastermind?
You never played Mastermind? Man, I'll have to see if they still make it these days so I can introduce you. It's a pretty simple game, but it can get challenging. One player arranges 4 pegs in various colors into a secret code, and the other tries to deduce the answer through logic and the process of elimination. Say my first code is yellow, green, blue, yellow, and your first guess is red, yellow, blue, white. I have to indicate to you, with these other smaller pegs, that you've got one color smack dab where it needs to be. And that you also got another color correct, but not in the right place yet. But the thing is, you don't know which one is which. Maybe you assume red and white were the correct ones, and your next guess is totally wrong. And you haven't even considered yet that I might have double yellows.
Aunt Claire waves her hands like a cartoon villain describing their evil.
You used to just sit around staring at pegs on a board? Your childhood sounds boring.
Why is his voice like that? Boring. I grin so she knows I'm just teasing her like she does to me. Actually, I can imagine that game being pretty fun.
Just you wait, kid. You'll regret your words and deeds when I find a copy of the game and prove myself to be the one true mastermind.
I think all you're proving is that you're a big nerd.
No way! Your dad was the nerd. I was really cool when we were younger. I was the one who went out to parties while he stayed home and studied.
Parties where you sat around playing Mastermind?
No, cool parties. Parties where we did stuff I'm not going to tell you about until you're old enough to drink.
That sounds like a convenient excuse to avoid admitting how totally uncool all your parties were.
Didn't your dad ever tell you stories about how much trouble I was always getting in with Mom? I mean, your grandma? It was because I stayed out late being cool. Ooh, one time, I skipped school to go on a road trip with my friends to see our favorite band playing a whole day's drive away. It was awesome. I didn't get home until the next night. And then I was grounded for a month. But it was absolutely worth it.
I smile at the mental image of a younger version of my aunt rocking out at a concert with her friends. And then getting yelled at by my grandma.
Alright, you got me. That does sound at least a little bit cool. Did Dad ever do anything like that?
Well, most of the time he was a goody two-shoes. But I do know of one time he skipped a couple classes.
Really? My dad?
Both of my parents were incredibly academically accomplished. They had to be in order to have the careers that they did in cutting-edge scientific research. The walls of my dad's office were covered with framed diplomas and certificates and awards. It's hard to picture him ever putting anything ahead of his studies, even as a teenager.
Yeah, really? I was about your age, and my first girlfriend, Katie, had just dumped me during lunch in the cafeteria in front of all our friends. I was so upset and embarrassed. I wanted to run away and never show my face at school again. Or at least not for the rest of the day. But Mike caught up to me when I was on my way off campus and tried to stop me. He went on and on about how many absences I'd already had that year, and how much my grades would suffer if I skipped the afternoon again, but I refused to go back. Finally, he said that if he couldn't convince me to go to class, he could at least supervise me instead of letting me run around town alone. So we went out for ice cream and killed time looking around stores until it was time to go home for dinner. By then, I had practically forgotten all about Katie. I was just having fun hanging out with my big brother. It was a really nice day.
There's a hint of sadness to Aunt Claire's smile as she reminisces.
That's a cute story. It sounds like Dad was a good brother.
Yeah, I miss him.
Me too.
It feels comforting rather than painful this time to think about my dad now that Aunt Claire's here going through the same grief. But she doesn't wallow in it for long before getting back to business.
Okay, kid, you've distracted me for long enough. It's your turn in Scrabble.
Do I even have to try? You're already beating me by like 100 points.
Of course you have to try. If there's one lesson that it's my responsibility to impart to you as your guardian, it's to never give up.
But I'm tired.
I'm joking. A little bit. But it is also true. It's been a long day.
Tough luck. You can sleep when you've proved yourself on the field of battle.
Okay. Give me a minute to come up with a good move.
I turn back to pondering the Scrabble board, searching for anywhere I can fit in a decent scoring word. Aunt Claire rests her chin on her hand and watches me, a warm and caring smile on her face. Okay. The Scrabble session ended there? Okay.
Hey, Zach!
Yes, okay now.
Zach!
Huh? What?
Why is there never nighttime scenes? No, I mean, it turns night. It's always morning. Right?
Wake up already!
Oh, it's already morning, okay. That's why.
I'm bored!
What time is it?
I feel like I could sleep for another 12 hours.
It's almost noon! I can't believe you slept for this long after you've already taken a nap yesterday and everything!
Well, sorry if narrowly avoiding my death at the hands of some shady strangers tired me out a little.
That, and being so soundly beaten at Scrabble by my own flesh and blood. And staying up late plotting my revenge afterwards.
Besides, I'm still recovering from my first round of near-death experience injuries. That kind of thing takes a lot out of a guy.
Well, you can't just sleep all day! Look, the sun is shining!
Yeah, I noticed. I kinda wish it would stop, actually.
It doesn't make you want to go outside and do something fun?
I'm surprised that Aya seems to have gotten over yesterday's event so quickly. She looked tired too when we got back last night, but now she's back to her usual energetic self. I guess maybe I should be glad she's not taking any of it too hard. And she did spend a long time waiting before waking me up, considering that she doesn't sleep at all. Maybe I should cut her some slack.
Okay. I don't know about going outside right away, but I'll get up at least. Let me go to the bathroom and grab something to eat from the kitchen, and then maybe we can find something fun to do inside the house.
Okay. I'll think of some good ideas.
I hope some of them involve lying very still. I heave myself out of bed and get ready to start the day. A few minutes later, I return to the bedroom with a bowl of cereal to find Aya squinting at the notebook on my desk.
What's this you were writing here? Some kind of secret code?
Oh, that?
I chuckle.
I was looking up obscure Scrabble words and writing down my favorites. I'm going to beat Aunt Claire at her own game next time.
These are words? In English?
Right? I mean, some of them are loan words from other languages, but pretty much, yeah. There are tons of weird words out there, and apparently, if you want to be good at Scrabble, you have to learn them all.
What's that?
She peers even closer at the list.
Syzygy.
Oh, syzygy? Apparently it's when 3 planets align or something. Tough to play since there's only 2 Ys in the game, but if you stumble across them in a blank tile for the 3rd one, you can get a ton of points. Want to help me look up some more?
Yeah! Show me the weird words.
I sit down in the bed, open up my laptop, and begin to reacquaint myself with the tabs I had opened last night.
Ooh, click on that one.
Aya provides her opinions on which words are most interesting, and I have fun trying to pronounce them in between bites of my cereal.
Oh, Canat! I know that one. It's a kind of tunnel for moving water around.
Oh, that's going on the list for sure. I'm always short of ways to get rid of a Q without a U. I bet Aunt Claire doesn't know Canat.
I scroll the word down on the list. Just as I cross the T, I hear a knock on the front door of the house. Oh my god. After a brief pause, the knocking continues with even more vigor.
Should you get that?
Nah, I'm sure Aunt Claire heard it too. It's not like anyone would come here to talk to me.
Oh no, it's maybe those 2 guys from last time. Sure enough, a few moments later, I hear my aunt's footsteps moving around downstairs. Another knock, louder and more impatient this time, rings out before she reaches the door. Oh my
Who
god,
do you think it is
Claire.
then?
I don't know. Package delivery?
Oh, let's go see! I love getting packages in the mail.
I can't imagine anything my aunt ordered would be all that exciting to Aya. Probably painting supplies or something? But I shrug and follow her out into the hall. She peers over the railing as she needs to be sneaky even though she could just float right on down there if she wanted to. Below us, Aunt Claire raises her voice to a volume I can easily hear.
And what exactly are you here to talk to my teenage kid about?
Zach, I think they're talking about you.
Weird. I wonder if it's that detective again. I follow Aya's lead in attempting to subtly peek at what's going on, but I can't get a good view of who's standing outside on the doorstep from here. All I can see is the top of Aunt Claire's head. Whoever she's talking to is mumbling something I can't hear, but her response is even louder than the last one.
Uh-huh. Well, how about you just tell me whatever is so important for him to hear, and I'll pass on the message if I think it's appropriate.
Aya,
I whisper so they don't hear me
can
downstairs.
you go see what's going on?
Okay.
Oh no, Aunt Claire, please. Aya drifts down the staircase and I sneak a little closer to the action myself, desperate to know what's happening. As I do, the person I can't quite see on the front step raises his voice.
I don't know if you understand how important it is that I speak to Zachary personally.
Oh my god.
Perhaps this will explain the seriousness of the situation.
Zach, he's got a gun!
What?
Oh my god, Aunt Claire. I shout out loud in my shock at Aya's exclamation, and Aunt Claire turns around, a fear in her eyes that I've never seen before.
Zach! Run!
No! What? A deafening gunshot rings out and my aunt crumbles to the Oh my god, please no. I stare for a moment in wide-eyed panic as a pool of blood spreads out onto the carpet beneath her. Is she okay? Is she alive? But now an armed man in a suit stepping over her and heading toward me. And I don't have time to find out. Instinctively, I whirl around and scramble back toward my bedroom, ignoring the pain in my weak leg as I go. I slam the door shut behind me just as I hurls through it.
Zach, we have to get out of here!
Oh my god, please don't kill Aunt Claire. Are you serious, game? No. Thinking quickly, I tip over a small bookshelf so that it blocks the door. Secondhand paperbacks that Aunt Claire filled the shelves with for me cascade onto the ground, landing at an odd angles with their pages crumpled by the impact. Aunt Claire even built that bookshelf for me herself. She really wanted me to have enough furniture that this place would feel like home. I remember her crouched on the floor, debating how the pieces were supposed to fit together, swearing when her first attempt turned out to be wrong and she had to yank out a few already hammered in nails. And then she laughed and put it back together. The right way this time. For me. Now she's lying in a pool of blood on the floor downstairs, and the bookshelf is all that's holding the man who shot her back from bursting through the door and doing the same to me. The door shakes. Oh my god. And he heaves as he slams into it from the other side, and I can tell the bookshelf won't hold him for long. Just like I said, I have to get out of here. At least this time, the window isn't too hard to open.
You'll be okay, Zach.
Aya, check if Aunt Claire is okay. Oh my god, Aya offers encouragement. I sling my messenger bag over my shoulder in an attempt to save at least a few of my new possessions.
You got away from those other shady guys yesterday, and you can get away from this one too. There's a tree just outside the window. If you reach out, you can probably jump and grab one of the branches and climb down. You can do this.
Wait, it's just too loud. I couldn't read. Sorry. The moment I look out the window, my body will be consumed by too much fear and panic to think of anything else. I'll just have to hope that the tree breaks my fall. Whatever happens, it can't be as bad as what's waiting for me on the other side of my badly barricaded door. I grasp either side of the window sill and close my eyes. Oh no, what did I do? Because I went to them last time, I joined them. Oh no, Aunt Claire, she was so good. Maybe she died. Hours later, I are huddled behind a foul-smelling dumpster in an alleyway downtown. We set off without much of a plan, just wanting to get as far away from the house as possible, in case that guy was chasing us. Eventually, my bad leg and some other minor injuries from yet another daring window escape caught up to me, and we had to find somewhere to rest for a little bit while keeping out of sight as much as possible. I stretched out my leg and surveyed the scratches on my arms from where the tree branches slowed my fall to the ground. A couple of them were bleeding earlier, but they don't look so bad anymore. I guess I got out of this one alright in comparison.
Does it hurt?
The scratches? Nah. My leg is killing me from all the walking, though. I should have thought to bring my cane out the window, too.
Maybe we can buy a new one once we're sure we're safe. Do you have any money?
Let's see.
I rummaged through my messenger bag, taking a stock of everything we have with us.
Yeah, looks like I did leave my wallet in here. Not much cash in it, but I do have my debit card.
I peers into the bag over my shoulder.
How's your laptop? It didn't get damaged in the fall, did it?
Oh, good question.
I slide it out of its padded compartment, flip it open, and hit the power button.
Seems like it's running okay. I guess the bag cushioned it pretty well.
Whew, that's good.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'd hate it if I had to ask Aunt Claire to buy me a...
Oh no, Aunt Claire.
Aunt Claire.
With the adrenaline of the chase having faded, the impact of what I saw back at the house has time to finally hit me.
Do you think she's alive?
Maybe she could be. Gunshot wounds aren't necessarily fatal, right?
Unless you got hit in the head.
depending on where she got shot. I didn't really see.
Oh, hopefully, please let her be alive.
But she was bleeding a lot.
I doesn't sound confident at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need to call Detective Tyrell.
It looked bad. I wish I could have helped her, but we can't go back, right? That guy with the gun must still be looking for us. For me, I mean.
Well, someone else must have heard the gunshot, right? No way none of your neighbors noticed the huge commotion. Someone must have called an ambulance or something. So maybe they got there in time and she's recovering in the hospital right now.
Aya's face lights up as she considers the optimistic possibility. I do my best to believe in it as much as she does.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
But I can't quite summon a smile. Deep down, I have the feeling that I've lost a loved one yet again. No. Something tells me that it was inevitable. That I was never going to live a happy life again after my parents died, no matter what. Maybe I was a fool to think I could. The fire was the beginning of the end for me, and I've been destined for tragedy ever since. Maybe the fire wasn't the beginning. Maybe it started even earlier.
Aya, do you remember what I said to the detective back in the hospital? About that guy I saw hanging around outside my house? My old house. Right before the fire?
The shifty-looking guy? The one who asked if you live there?
Yeah, that guy.
I close my eyes, summoning images I'd really rather forget to the forefront of my mind.
Back then in the hospital, I could barely remember what he looked like or anything. It felt so insignificant compared to everything else, that I had once exchanged a few words with a creepy stranger in another life before it all changed. But the more I think about it,
I take a shaky breath, my shoulders heaving with it.
Aya, I think that was the same guy. I think he's the one who shot Claire. I think he might have been following me. I might have caught a glimpse of him at the art fair.
Aya's eyes are wide with shock as I furrow my brows and struggle to remember.
You mean he's... like, he could be after your whole family?
That must be it, right? I don't know why else he'd... Why all of this?
My breathing gets shallower, my voice growing increasingly frantic.
What did my family ever do to deserve any of this? What did Aunt Claire...
I pull my knees up to my chest and throw my head into my hands. Tears I can't control soak my fingers and drip down to my wrists. I feel a cold sensation on my back and realize that Aya must have placed her hand in there in an attempt to comfort me.
You're going to be okay, Zach. We can get through this. How about we find somewhere to sleep for the night? You'll feel better once you get some rest. We can figure everything else out tomorrow, okay?
Weakly, I look up at her and nod, my face stained with tears.
Want to try the park? I've always thought some of those benches looked pretty comfy. I don't think it's too far from here. I explored around a lot the night before, so I can be your guide.
Okay, sounds good.
I can't say I share her opinion about the park benches, but now that I've gotten out some of my sadness and anger, the most overwhelming feeling left is pure exhaustion. She's right. I'll be able to think more clearly after a good night's sleep. Or whatever kind of night's sleep I can manage to get on a cold, hard bench anyway. And no matter what happens, my best friend is still here with me. We can figure out what to do next together. Gently, without putting too much weight on my bad leg, I stand up. and follow her out of the alleyway and down the sidewalk toward the park. Dude, please, please, Aunt Claire, you better be okay. Okay, I wake up cold, stiff, and disoriented. Rubbing some warmth back into one sore shoulder, I sit up and squint at my surroundings. It's still dark, but I can make out enough familiar sights to understand that I'm in the park downtown. For a moment, I wonder what I'm doing sleeping on a park bench. And then the events of the previous day flash back into my mind, and I let out a deep sigh of sadness and anguish. Like, look at her face.
You okay?
Aya floats over from nearby tree. I don't know how to answer her.
What time is it?
About 5 a.m. I think.
Right. I collapsed on this bench pretty early yesterday evening, so it makes sense that it will still be dark when I wake up. But I wish I could have slept later and been greeted by the light of a new day. Maybe that would have improved my mood somehow. Right now, in the dim, cloudy dawn, my situation doesn't even feel real. Like if I lie back down and close my eyes again, I could wake up to Aunt Claire calling me downstairs for my breakfast. Or even earlier in my old room with my dad making coffee downstairs. But then I guess I wouldn't have Aya. A stab of hunger snaps me out of my reverie and my stomach rumbles along with it.
You hungry? I scoped up the area a bit, and I think we could grab a bite to eat at this diner called Fred's. It's open 24 hours.
Fred's? I don't think I've ever been there.
Well, there's never a bad time to try something new, right?
Aya grins, but I can tell that the expression is plastered on in an attempt to cheer me up. I appreciate it.
Sure, breakfast at Fred's sounds nice.
Then come on, I'll show you.
I get to my feet slowly, my muscles still protesting at the uncomfortable choice of sleeping quarters. My bad leg trubs, and I shift my weight off it as much as possible. I'm definitely going to need to get a new cane. But for now, I limp down the street after Aya, who floats cheerfully along slightly ahead of me. She leads me to an establishment with a neon sign and a shrill bell that rings to announce my entrance through the heavy door. Inside, it has the kind of fake 1950s decor that you would see a lot in restaurants. But here, it's all so peeled and fading that it looks like it might have actually been around since back then. The place is pretty empty. I only spot two other customers, both quietly drinking coffee on their own. I mean, it's 5 a.m, man. One is a tired-looking man in a suit with a newspaper, and the other is a teenager toting a huge backpack. I wonder what has the two of them awake at this hour like I am. I notice a TV in one corner of the room softly playing the morning news as an older woman in an apron approaches me at the front counter. Table for one? I have to stop myself from instinctively correcting her before she shows us to our table. I'm always forgetting that other people can't see Aya. The waitress hands me a slightly sticky menu and pours a cup of coffee before leaving me alone to decide on my meal. I slurp the coffee greedily, hoping it won't take too long to kick in and make me feel a little less exhausted. Aya sits next to me and leans over my shoulder to look at the menu.
What are you going to get?
I had been thinking I'd go for something cheap and simple like scrambled eggs and toast. I don't want to spend too much money when I have no idea how long Aya and I will be on the run like this. But then I see it. The big breakfast. 3 eggs with maple syrup, infused sausages, home fries, and baked beans. My mouth is watering already. I quickly decide that getting a lot of food is really the most rational and pragmatic decision here. After all, I don't know where my next meal is coming from, so I'd better fill up. It doesn't take long to arrive once I've ordered it, and soon I'm digging into one of the most delicious breakfasts I ever eaten.
That looks so good! I'm kind of jealous.
I feel a little bad that Aya can't experience this hearty meal the way I can. But not bad enough to stop shoveling it into my mouth with satisfaction and glee. More coffee?
Sure, thanks.
I answer with my mouth full, and the waitress refills my cup before heading off to do the same for one of the other customers. I swallow a fork full of beans and wash it down with a sip of hot coffee. I'm enjoying this breakfast so much that I'm even starting to feel kind of relaxed. That is, until the voice of the newscaster on the television says something that shatters the atmosphere completely. Please. In local news, police are searching for an aunt and nephew, Clarabelle and Zachary Gilbert, following a concerning disappearance. Oh, they took Aunt Claire as well. I drop my fork with a clatter and snap my head in the direction of the television. One of my old school photographs is up there on the screen, next to an extremely unflattering one of what looks like a much younger Aunt Claire. Officers arrived at the family's Lowe's Avenue home yesterday morning after a neighbor reported hearing a gunshot. They found signs of a struggle and traces of blood in the front hall, but neither one of the home's residents could be found. Does that mean Aunt Claire escaped too? No, they took her. Is she okay? Or does it just mean that the guy who shot her hid her body? Clarabelle Gilbert had recently become the legal guardian of her nephew Zachary following the tragic death of his parents in a house fire. An image of my childhood home ablaze fills the screen and I look away, my heart pounding. While the fire was labeled an accident at the time, this disappearance so soon after it raises questions about whether criminals may be targeting the Gilbert family. The late Michael and Julie Gilbert were celebrated scientific researchers, but police investigation shows that Clarabelle had a record of juvenile offenses, including vandalism and other misdemeanors. Anyone who may have any information about the whereabouts of Clarabelle or Zachary Gilbert should call the numbers on the screen now. Police are also still looking for answers about last week's robbery at... Okay, the newscaster's voice seems to fade into the background again, as I put my head in my hands and think over the ramifications of what I just heard. Should I call the cops and tell them what happened? But what if you don't believe me? Is it safer for us to stay on the run? That shady guy must still be looking for me too, right? If the cops find me, that might make it easier for him to find me too. But where am I going to go? I turn to Aya and find her looking just as anxious and confused as I am.
Zach, maybe we should get out of here. They just showed your face on TV. Someone might recognize you. Let's go somewhere safer and figure out what to do next.
I nod at her and give a little wave to get the waitress' attention. She brings over the bill and I can't stop my sharp intake of breath when I look at the price of that breakfast. I don't even feel like finishing it now, that the news has replaced my hunger with a sickening feeling of fear. I'm not getting my money's worth at all, and I'm in way too much of a hurry to ask for a to-go box. Still, I pull out my debit card to pay. I don't have quite enough cash, and make a hurried exit back out onto the street. The sun is starting to peek through the clouds, and there are a few more people out and about waiting at the bus stops or unlocking storefronts. I try to stick to the shadows as I shuffle away from the diner with no particular destination in mind. Eventually, the increasing pain in my leg forces me to stop, and I lean against the brick wall of a darkened building.
You okay?
Yeah, just give me a minute.
Okay.
I drift away, checking out our surroundings before floating back to my side.
Where do you want to go next?
I don't know!
My response comes out in a frustrated snap, and I immediately feel bad about it when I see Aya's face fall.
Sorry. I'm not mad at you. I don't have any ideas. I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going. I wish I could go home.
Aya gives me a sympathetic nod.
Me too.
I wonder if she means Aunt Claire's house or the hospital or the other home she lost so long before I even lost mine. I sigh and push off the wall so I can stretch a bit. Glancing at the building that I chose to lean against, I realized it's the same pizza place where Aya was shocked by the fire in the oven at the art festival. Was that really only a few days ago? It's dark enough to see my reflection in the glass, and they look like such a mess that I wish it wasn't. My hair is tousled and unwashed, and my clothes are torn and smeared with dirt from when I went out the window. Anyone who saw me wandering the streets right now would probably assume I was homeless. I guess they'd be right. At least that might give me some freedom to talk out loud to Aya without worrying about how people might react. No one thinks twice about a homeless guy talking to himself. They just look the other way and hope he doesn't bother them for a spare change. Looking like this, I could be almost as invisible as Aya. A flicker of movement behind me in the glass catches my eye, and I turn around to see the frighteningly familiar frame of a tall man in a suit across the street.
Aya, am I really going crazy or...
That's one of those creepy guys from my old neighborhood.
It's a taller one of the two men who lured me into the dusty apartment. I think his partner called him Mr. Kid. Without shifting his gaze away from me, he steps out down over the curb and begins to stride across the road in my direction. A car careens to a halt just before hitting him, the driver laying on the horn. The tall man doesn't even flinch in his slow but dodged pursuit.
What's he doing here?
Or dogged pursuit.
How did he...
Come on, let's go!
Whipping my head back and forth in search of an escape route, I notice a nearby bus stop and take off a slightly uneven jog. I grit my teeth against the pain shooting up my leg as the bus pulls up just ahead of me. Luckily, a woman with a baby carriage is getting on the bus too. And the extra time it takes the driver to lower the ramp and help her aboard allows me to hop on just behind her. I fish my student card out of my pocket and hold it up on my way to a window seat, where I can check and find out how short-lived my safety might be. Craning my neck, I see Mr. Kid standing on the sidewalk in front of the pizza place. He's looking around as if he's trying to figure out which way I went. Maybe the bus's arrival blocked his view, and he doesn't know that I got on. My breath catches in my throat as he takes a step in this direction, and I worry that he's figured out and is about to break into a run and catch us. But then the doors of the bus swing shut and the engine rumbles as we pull away from the side of the road. I turn my head away, hoping he won't be able to recognize me through the window of the bus as we go past him. The bus picks up speed and I can finally breathe again. Aya and I are safe for now. But I can read the fear and confusion in her eyes, and I'm feeling the exact same way.
How did he find you? And why is he...
She gasps.
Do you think he's working with the other guy? The one who... Zach, what's going on?
I respond with a heaving sigh and a defeated shrug. I have no idea how to answer her. The only thing I know for sure is that someone, or some group of people, is after me. And it means Aya and I need to stay on the run. Jesus Christ, super intense episode. It started very calm, very happy, honestly. With us playing Scrabble with Aunt Claire. Okay, so we'll end our episode there for now. Yeah, we were playing Scrabble with Aunt Claire. And then it turned up. Jesus. I hope Aunt Claire survives. Come on now. Like, it's not really fair. Zach lost his parents, both of them. And now, maybe we will also lose Aunt Claire. But maybe she's still alive, right? They took her body, so basically like bait us to go with them or something like that, right? Maybe. Well, we'll have to find out. So maybe it's gonna be next episode, but I don't know. We're just gonna have to see. So I'll just see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye.